Did you know that using the wrong Amex card inside of your business could be costing you tens of thousands of dollars every single year? Well, most business owners don't. And I've spoken to thousands of business owners over which credit cards they want inside their business and ultimately which ones are going to get them the most return. So in this video, I'm going to break down specifically a comparison between the Amex Business Gold and the Amex Business Platinum. Now, these are the two most common Amex business cards inside of your business, and quite candidly, two of the best Amex business cards that you can use inside of your business. So I'm going to break down which ones are better for which type of business owner and really do a comparison based off of your travel goals, your spend, your tolerance for annual fees, and overall what will drive you the most value. Now, I have a unique vantage point on this because, as I mentioned, I've consulted thousands of business owners one-on-one and meticulously gone through their spending and their credit cards are using and help them analyze which cards are going to get them the most value. And I've seen some really common mistakes and some big misconceptions as well, in part due to the way that Amex markets these cards. So I want to clear those up for you, break this down, and get you to get the right card for your business. So without further ado, let's dive into this breakdown. Okay, so in this breakdown, I want to compare a few key points. So the first thing is going to be the point earning potential of the card. The second is going to be the perks and benefits that you can get from that card. And the third is going to be the overall ROI and thinking around which card you should get, the order you should get them in, and potentially why you may want to actually have both cards. And so the first thing we'll look at is the sign-up bonus. So you'll see that the Amex Business Gold currently right now, as of today, has a 100,000 point bonus, which is pretty solid, but you'll see that the Business Platinum has a higher bonus at 150,000. Now, whether you're watching this, right after I put the video out or way in the future, you'll see consistently that the Business Platinum will always have a much higher bonus than the Business Gold in almost all situations. So if there's an elevated bonus for one, there's likely an elevated bonus for the other. But the minimum spend required is also very reflective of that bonus. So the Business Platinum is a higher minimum spend requirement of 20K, where the Business Gold has a spend requirement of 15K. So I always advise people to make sure they're not overspending just to hit the bonus. That completely ruins the opportunity. But if you're going to already spend that money inside of your business and you're going to spend over 15 or 20K, then getting one of these cards and hitting that bonus is going to make the value proposition even higher for you. Now, the key here is that you do it within the first 3 months. They are very unforgiving. So if you miss that even by a day, they will not give you the bonus. So just make sure to allocate that spend appropriately. Now, you'll also see that the annual fee is reflective of the size of the bonus. So the Business Gold has a $375 annual fee, where the Business Platinum has an annual fee of nearly $700. So that's a pretty big difference. But the perks and benefits of this card are one of the driving factors as to why that fee is so high, which we're going to break down here in a second. Now, the last thing I'll highlight is that you pretty much are going to have the same APR, and the credit score requirements are roughly the same too. So because these are charge cards and not credit cards, which means you need to pay the balance in full every month, it's a little bit different than a credit card, even though it has similar features. If you do need to ever carry over payments, they do have the ability to do that. Because of that, they're actually less risky to the bank, which means that the credit score requirement is actually pretty easy. You can get this card with a score as low as 670, which is really good compared to a lot of high-end business cards require 720 or sometimes even 740 to get them. So it actually makes it a great set of cards to look at if you're just getting into the credit game or your credit score is a little bit low. Okay. Now, the other thing to consider when you're applying here is the order of the applications because of how the bonuses work. Now, I'm not going to get into super detail on that right now, but basically, if you've already had the card previously, if you've already had the Business Gold or the Business Platinum, you're ineligible for the bonuses. And if you've already had the Business Platinum, if you get the Business Gold, you won't get the bonus there. But if you've had the Business Gold, you can still get the Business Platinum bonus. So it's a little bit confusing. They change these rules and really make it a little difficult to keep track with, but that's the overall thought process on the bonuses when it comes to the application and the order. Okay. So by the way, if you want to skip ahead and just get more information on which cards are going to be right for you inside of your business, you can go ahead and scroll down below in the description and find a guide that I put together that breaks down different comparisons of credit cards and really how to analyze and understand which specific cards are going to get you the most overall value inside of your business. Okay, let's jump back in. So let's go ahead and break down the comparison of which card is going to be better for you based off of your overall business needs. Now, the key thing that you're going to see here is that the spending category bonuses have different earning structures. Okay, so with the Business Gold, this is where the big difference maker is for most business owners, especially if you have a good amount, a healthy amount of expenses in your business every month on some pretty common expenses like advertising, dining, like software, things like that. If you're spending a lot, then the Business Gold is going to be a really good card for you. And by a lot, I don't necessarily mean the volume has to be super high. What I mean is it's high relative to your other types of expenses inside of your business. So if you only spend $2,000 a month, but $1,500 of that is on social media advertising or on dining or taking clients out, then that still makes this a really good card for you. Okay. Now, what you'll see is that these 4X bonus categories will work for 6 categories. Okay. So I mentioned a few of them. We have social media advertising. You've also got TV and radio advertising if you're doing that. You've got restaurants, aka dining. You've got rideshare services and some other like taxi cab services. That's a smaller one. You've got cell phone services. That's a smaller one. And you've got software as well, which is actually a really big one for a lot of people, me included. Okay. But it's going to be on 2 categories up to your first 150K per year. So in other videos and inside of our services and programs, we help people strategize so that they're making the highest return on the additional spend beyond the first 150. But if you're just spending less than 150K on those categories, then this is a great card. And if you think about it and compare this to the Amex Business Platinum, where it only earns 1 point per dollar on those types of purchases, if you spent 150,000 on, let's say, software and advertising, over the course of a year, the business gold is going to earn you 600,000 points and the business platinum is only going to earn you 150,000. So this is the big common mistake that I see most business owners making is Amex markets the business platinum as a high annual fee card. They market it as this like big sexy card. And because of that, most people think, well, that must be the best card for me. So what they end up doing is they get the Amex Business Platinum and they put all of their expenses on it, right? They go out to restaurants and they're spending out. They put their ads on it. They put everything on the Amex Business Platinum because they think that must be the best card because the annual fee is higher. And psychologically, that would make sense, except for that's just not how it works. The Amex Business Gold is almost always a better everyday spender unless you are someone who just spends a lot of money on flights. Okay, so if you're purchasing flights for yourself as the business owner, maybe you're going to a lot of business conferences and there's a lot of airfare that you have that could just be written off on the company. Or you potentially have team members that are traveling. Like let's say you have a sales team and you send them to different trade shows and conferences and you're going to be purchasing a lot of airfare for them. You can go through Amex Travel to make those purchases for your flights. You'll notice I didn't mention hotels. I rarely recommend purchasing hotels through Amex Travel for other reasons in other videos in terms of how status is accrued. But if you're spending a lot on flights, then you're actually better off using that Amex Business Platinum card and going through Amex Travel because it will be a 5X earner on flights compared to 3X on the Business Gold. Okay, so again, if you have a lot of ad spend and a lot of restaurant spend, a lot of software spend, and a lot of airfare spend, then it would definitely make sense to consider having both of them. Like I do have both. And one of my use cases for this is I run an annual ski mastermind trip for a bunch of entrepreneurs. And there are speakers that come out to this. And in the budget for the trip, I put in the cost of flying a speaker out because I don't want to use my points for their flight. So what I do is I just go to Amex Travel. I use my business platinum card. Well, actually, my assistant does that for me. But we put that card on that or that expense on that card. So I earn the 5X multiplier on that airfare purchase. Now, even though they are flying in the seat, so they're going to earn airline miles from that flight, I'm going to earn credit card points from the purchase. Okay. Now, if I was flying, I'd earn credit card points from the purchase and airline miles, which is double dipping. But since it's someone else, and for you, if you have a sales team, it may be someone else, you can put that expense on your card through Amex Travel and get 5X points. So that's one of the main value drivers from this card is going to be that airfare purchase. Okay. Again, for hotels, don't really recommend this, and we'll get into that in other videos around why that's the case. Okay. But there's also the opportunity to earn 1.5 points per dollar on non-category bonus expenses. So basically what that means is if you're spending over 5K, you'll get 1.5X on any transaction over 5K up to 2 million per card. But the downside of this is that there's actually cards out there that earn more than this and they don't have a 5K minimum. So I don't really recommend maximizing that perk. I actually have other cards I'd recommend in that case. But if you're just looking at gold versus platinum, if you spend over 5K on transaction sizes a lot, and let's say you run like a roofing company, for example, and you don't spend a lot on advertising or some of these other categories, gas, for example, is another one that's a 4X bonus category for the gold. If you don't spend a lot on that and you're spending a lot of transactions that are over 5K at like Home Depot, then this would make sense if you didn't want to get a different card. But that's going to be the breakdown. So overall, the winner on this is by far the business gold. Now, the next category to break down is going to be the benefits from the card. Okay. So if we think about these benefits, the business platinum smokes the business gold. This is another reason why I like to have both, because the business gold does have some benefits to it. You're going to get $20 statement credits. And really, this just helps chip away at that fee. You know, it's not like you probably order on GrowHo a ton, but if you do, or you go to FedEx or office supply stores and you use the business gold, you will get a $20 monthly credit. So you definitely want to utilize that. You have a $13 month credit for a Walmart Plus membership, but it's like, yeah, these just aren't things that are like real needle movers, at least for me and for most business owners, but they are nice to take advantage of if you're already going to get the card, but they probably shouldn't be the driving force to make the decision. Okay. Now, on the other hand, the business platinum, if we look at this, you're going to see that you're going to earn some serious credits. Okay. So first off, a $200 airline fee credit. So this is really good for things like baggage, for things like lounge day passes, stuff like that. You can use these airline fee credits. You can't use them for airline ticketing or upgrades. You cannot use it for that. But what you do is you select a preferred airline, and then you get a $200 annual credit for that airline. Okay. So that's a nice start. Then you've got Clear. And so you get a credit for that. That's $200. And I love Clear. What you want to do ideally is combine Clear and TSA PreCheck and Global Entry. And this card will cover your TSA PreCheck and Global Entry as well. But if you combine TSA PreCheck and Clear when you're going through the airports and flying domestic, you're going to skip right through security and get the fastest possible experience. And this covers that. Okay, so now we're at basically $400 a year in credits. Now, what you're also going to see is the lounge game with the business platinum card is the best. This is the reason why I love it so much. If you're a frequent domestic traveler, this is the best lounge access card out there because it's going to get you access to the Amex lounges, which there are, I think, around 40 or so right now. But it's also going to get you access to priority pass lounges. Okay, so it says 1,400 airport lounges worldwide. That's because they are a membership. There's a membership benefit with Priority Pass, which is a private network of lounges. They have an app and all this stuff. And no matter what airline you're flying or what class you're flying in, if a Priority Pass lounge is available in that airport, you're going to have access, okay? Assuming it's not overcrowded, which has been an issue as of late, okay? But that's going to be two of the three main lounge categories. And then lastly, this card also gets you into Delta lounges when you fly Delta. Now, Delta lounges, out of all the airline lounges for domestic travel, is one of the best. And so if you're flying Delta frequently, maybe you live in Atlanta or Detroit or, just somewhere where JFK, where there's a lot of Delta operated flights. That's a really nice perk if you're a frequent Delta flyer and allows you to bypass needing to get a Delta actual card. You can just get the business platinum and get a lot of that same benefit. Okay. So those are some of the perks. There are a bunch of others. And one that they don't have highlighted here that I'm really going to hit on is the Amex Fine Hotels and Resorts perk. Now, what this does is it's going to get you upgrades and benefits at really nice luxury hotels. So I'm actually going to go ahead and jump into that. Okay, so if we look at the Amex Fine Hotels and Resorts benefit, and also what they call the hotel collection, it's technically two different groups of hotels, but it's the same benefit that you get with the Platinum or the Business Platinum card. You're going to get a few main things, and I'm going to click Explore Benefits, and we'll see what those are. So what you'll see is when you have the Amex Business Platinum, you get a $200 credit to Amex Fine Hotels and Resorts. Plus, you're going to get some other nice credits that they're going to mention with the stay, but the $200 credit's an annual one. Okay, so when you use those, when you use this perk and you trigger that credit on the card, you'll see $200 comes back. There are some requirements over the number of nights that you have to book, depending on if it's a Fine Hotels and Resort stay or a hotel collection stay, to trigger that $200 credit. But that is going to be a massive bonus on top of everything else. So one of the other benefits of booking through Fine Hotels and Resorts or the hotel collection is that you're essentially going to be treated like you have top status at that hotel. So you're going to get, things like early check-in, late checkout. You're going to get breakfast for two. You're going to get complimentary Wi-Fi, and you're going to get room upgrades and sometimes some on-site credits. So these are like what typically the benefits are if you book through a travel agency or if you have elite status at a hotel. That's what it looks like. And these can be really killer. I've done some really nice stays where you get some absolutely extraordinary upgrades. And for example, I was just in Switzerland where I proposed to my now fiance, and we got upgraded to an awesome junior suite with this amazing view over Lake Lucerne in Switzerland. We got the credit. We had daily breakfast for two. We had late checkout, early check-in, all of this stuff. And I ended up stacking up well over, I think, $1,500 worth of value from this single perk. Okay. So if you use a few of those a year, that's a massive return on investment from the annual fee, which is why I personally have both the Amex Business Gold and the Amex Business Platinum, because I'm stacking a lot of these benefits from the Platinum card and I'm earning a lot of the points from the Gold. Okay. So now if you go through here, you'll see you can find different perks and benefits on some of these hotels. I'm not going to go into this too much right now. We'll do other videos on that, but they have a whole range of hotels. You will typically pay for them. I don't recommend using points for these, but in a situation where you're not going to redeem points for a hotel stay, this will present some really nice options. They're typically a little nicer, a little more high end, but if you're doing a luxury stay, this is totally worth it. Okay. So now the kind of final assessment here. What's the right card for you? Should you get the Amex Business Gold or the Amex Business Platinum? Now, again, as I mentioned, in my case, I actually have both cards and I'm very happy with that. I get way more value back from holding those cards than I pay in annual fees. Plus, there are ways to actually reach out to Amex and ask them to either waive the annual fee or give you what's called a retention bonus where you're going to earn points back. So that's always an option. But I typically recommend having both cards if you have expenses that match that 4x bonus multiplier on the business gold and you like to travel a lot. If you don't travel as much and you just have high expenses, go for the Amex Business Gold. If you don't have those expense categories, but you do have frequent travel, then go for the Amex Business Platinum. Again, and if you're like many business owners and you have both, I honestly recommend getting both. So if you want more information, you can check out further guides that I've put together below for business owners over which cards are going to be best for your business and overall points earnings. And I have other videos that break down other card comparisons as well as some of the additional benefits like fine hotels and resorts on my channel. So go ahead and check those out as well. And with that, I'll see you in the next video.